Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Panic Report and your host, Panic! Hey, Breaksters! Welcome back to the channel. It's your host, Panic! This video, we're going to be talking about my absolute favorite haunt that I've been to this season, and my favorite haunt of all time. You guys already know what that is. Knott's Scary Farm Halloween Haunt. That's right, 2020 was a phenomenal year. This video, we're going to go through the mazes, my rankings on how I see it, how much I like them, and what they got going on out there. But before we get there, if you have not yet and you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button down below. Come on, be a prankster. Join the crew. We're growing in numbers. We're over 100 now. We just keep going from here. Also, see that thumbs up button? That's right. Give it a smash. Also, put down in the comments below if you've been to Knott's Scary Farm this year. If so, do you agree with my rankings? Would you put them in a different order? Let me know the order you would have. If you have not been to the event, have you ever wanted to go? Because you should. This is absolutely the best theme park haunt that I have been to out there anywhere. I know a lot of people put Universal Studios way above it, but if you really look at it, the detail, the level of storytelling, all original, and they're the park that have been doing it the longest. The talent here is above and beyond anything you'll get anywhere. And my favorite part, they don't rely on scare buttons. They got a few of them here and there. But unlike Universal, where almost every single scare is the same sound with a light that's recorded and in there, the talent here gets to use the space they're given in their own way. The scares aren't necessarily always built in. So it's a living, breathing haunt that moves and changes depending on the crowd that night. And they really live off the energy and thrive off the energy of the guests. So it's amazing. And this year was phenomenal. So, let's get to it. First, on our list of 8 mazes that they had this year, let's see. We're going to go at Paranormal Ink. Paranormal Ink has been here for quite a long time. It's its last year there, and this is still a phenomenal haunt. Paranormal investigation, you go in, that first showroom is unbelievable. The little show that they put on. Then you actually go into the haunt in 2 different directions to start with, and then you combine and meet up for the rest of the haunt. There's a lot going on in this maze that you could miss if you're not paying attention. You go into a room and there's a video camera there set up looking at a wheelchair, and the wheelchair is moving with nothing in it. But if you look at the video camera or the TV monitor next to it, you can see there's actually a ghost in that chair that's making it move. Same thing on the other side, but I think it's on a gurney. Phenomenal haunt. The only thing I've always questioned about this one is towards the end you start getting into like monsters and demons. When it was like a paranormal ghost haunt through the whole first part of it, all of a sudden these demon creature characters start coming around. And I don't know if they've ever really explained that very well. But still, phenomenal haunt. They changed the ending a couple years ago where you walk out of all this craziness into this like very old like 50s style insane asylum, and you're walking down the hallway with the music playing, and then the music changes and flickers, and the walls are scrims and they flicker out, and there's this ginormous beast on the other side of the scrim. Absolutely phenomenal. Love this haunt. As sad as I am to see it go, I'm very happy. It's been there a long time. So it's nice to see them get rid of it to change it to something new. But that's number 8 on the list. Now, number 7 is Dark Entities. Dark Entities is a space alien themed haunt, a maze. This year we went through it very early in the night, so there was still a lot of light out, and there really wasn't a lot of talent in this one. And unfortunately, because it was still light outside, and these are done in warehouses back in the backstage area, they've got sunlights and stuff, and they weren't necessarily covered all the way, so there's a lot of bleed in from the light outside, and there's a lot of effects in this one with lasers and stuff, where it's got to be pretty dark for it to work. So unfortunately, because of the timing on this one, it definitely knocks it down a little bit. This haunt needs to be very dark for it to work correctly. Also, it was probably the haunt where we saw the least amount of talent in, so it suffers from that as well. But it's still a very good haunt, very fun haunt. I love the detail in this one. Just not up to par with the rest. On to number 6. Or 7. No, 6. Sorry, we're at 6. The Depths. Now, this is another one that's in the very back. Again, it's going to suffer a little bit because we went through it earlier in the night before it got real dark. But we did go through it again a second time when it was dark. And more actors or scare actors than dark entities, but still not a lot. Now, this one is like a miner's underground, and they end up finding something. And I love the way this one looks. It's beautiful inside. You are absolutely in the cave environment. You're going through it. You're seeing all the, the miners and all the creatures that they come across. They had these cool shark guys. A couple years ago, there were quite a lot of them in there, and they were awesome. And this year, there was a little bit fewer of them, and I don't know, they just weren't hitting like they were before. But again, this is a phenomenal haunt. I don't think there's a single one that Knott's does that's not great. I mean, this haunt, every one of them, all 8 of them, stack way up there compared to all the other ones that I've been through this year. Maybe I'll do a video on that, of all the mazes I went through from all the parks. Maybe do the top 10. Hey, that's a good idea. Anyways, on to the next. We're going to hit number 5, and that's going to be Pumpkin Eater. Now, I the first year they did this one, I liked it and I enjoyed it, but it was just something missing. And throughout the years, I think it's gotten better, and they've changed the ending this year. Instead of going through the little cornfield thing, you're still inside the pumpkin, and it's very dark, and there's a lot going on. I definitely think this was one of the scarier ones this year. I really liked what they did with this, and this has definitely moved up my list. It was probably, if it would have been the same as years before, it probably would have been down towards the bottom at 7 or 8. But it's definitely moved up some. Great maze this year. Absolutely loved it. I love when you walk into the pumpkin and you can smell the pumpkin and everything's nasty in there. Phenomenal maze. Absolutely had a great time. I thought there was a decent number of talent in this one. Still could have used some more, but hey, better and good. Of all the events I've been to so far this year, Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights and Knott's Scary Farm have had the most talent in their mazes. The only reason I know that there's a few spots missing is because I've been to Knott's Scary Farm before, and this is my first year at Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando. So I don't know the difference, but still, great job. So moving on to number 4. Number 4 is their brand new maze this year, Mesmer, Sideshow of the Mind. Now, this maze was a trip. Let me just say that. There's a lot of effects in this maze. There is a lot of super cool, amazing things going on inside here. They do have a opening show in the very first room. Unfortunately, when we went, they weren't using it at all. They were just kind of pushing people through. So I think it might depend on... my guess is it depends on how long the line is. If the line's really long, they can just push people through. If the line's kind of shorter, then they can go and use the pre-show. But basically, there's a person in there who puts this girl in a chair to sleep, and then this cool effect happens. We kind of saw a little bit of the effect, but not the whole thing. But still cool. Cool. And then the rest of the maze, you're going through this circus, and the soundtrack is this guy who's hypnotizing you, and you can hear him talking the whole time. It kind of reminded me of the Edgar Allan Poe maze that they did. Very creepy, very cool, keeps you in that mindset as you move from one area to the next, and he's talking about how you're going deeper and deeper in, and just effect after effect after effect. Beautiful maze. But there were a few times where I thought they skimped out a little bit. There's an area you go in and there's all these eyeballs all over the wall, and I remember back to the Grudge maze where they had these ginormous walls full of eyeballs, and it was so cool looking. And this one looks like they took like a piece of plastic, that the eyeball's been pressed into, because they're all 3-dimensional eyeballs, and they just glued it to the one wall and left it. And the rest of the wall's just black. Instead of finishing the wall off or finishing the edges to where it blended in. So there are a few spots where it looked like they kind of cheated a little bit, and I caught it. Now, most people may not. Hey, but that's why I'm here to give you my opinion, my review, and that's what I thought. But besides that, I thought it was an incredible maze. You got bungee jumpers inside there. I mean, everything you want in a haunt maze, they had it in there. Phenomenal maze. Next on the list, number 3, one of my all-time favorites from the last couple of years, Dark Ride, Castle of Chaos. I love this one, and the talent in this one is phenomenal. Especially the monkeys. I love the monkeys. Those guys are just so awesome. So this one is like a dark ride. You're going on a dark ride at a carnival, and you're going in and out of the dark ride to the back, like, maintenance area, and then back into the dark ride, and back into other areas. There's also their big clown haunt. They got all the clowns at the end. So super cool environment. Such a smart idea for a maze. When they first came out with this one, genius. And it still works. It's still going strong. I absolutely love Dark Ride. Now, number 2, Waxworks. That's right, Waxworks was new in 2019. My first time experiencing this one. Took over Trick or Treat, and gorgeous. The detail in this maze is phenomenal. The top 2 mazes here, I mean, probably some of the most detailed mazes I have ever seen in my life. Great storytelling, some awesome, like, creatures that they put together. Then when you're outside, it kind of tells you the backstory of this old school, wax museum, and you're going to go through it, and they got this face, I think it's a skeleton or something, face out in the front that kind of talks to you and goes through this little spiel, and then you go inside, and there's especially a room towards the very end where you're going to get melted into the wax, and it's, oh my God, this room it's amazing. Everything you want it to be, and it is. I believe I got a video on our Facebook page. If you go on Facebook, I might have posted it, or I might have posted it here on YouTube, so just check around. I posted a bunch of my walkthrough videos. I'm pretty sure it's here on YouTube, so look up the Waxworks walkthrough. It's a little dark, but I still think you get the gist of it. You get to see all the cool stuff. Loved this maze. Now on to number 1. That's right. You guys know what it is if you know the event, right? Origins, the Curse of Calico. In my opinion, there is no maze at any theme park that comes close to how amazing this maze is. The detail in the sets, the incredible storytelling of Sarah Marshall and her being found guilty in the very beginning of her witchcraft. And throughout the maze, they have, like a portrait on the wall of her, and it comes to life, and you see her slowly morphing into the witch. And then at the end of the maze, you come into a room where it all compiles together, and they have all the screens, and you can see the morph happening right in front of you. Then you go into the witch's lair, and she's cursing the town of Calico from up above, flying around the room in a circle. Amazing. There's a point in the maze where you walk out of this room, and you're outside in Ghost Town, and you're on the street, walking in front of a building, and across the way you see another building, and you see the curse starting to take form, and a guy's turning into like a werewolf, and then you see the haunted shack, and you go in a building, back. That one scene, when I walked out the first time, I turned around and was like, wow. The detail just in that one small area was so beautiful, so well done. There's some amazing mazes I've gone through this year that have had incredible detail, but in my opinion, nothing out there beats Origins, the Curse of Calico. And that is why it is number 1 on this list for Not Scary Farm Halloween Haunt 2021. How I rank the haunts. So what do you guys think? Do you agree with me? Would you put them in a different order? This isn't necessarily the scariest. This was just my favorite, how I ranked them in enjoyment factor. If it was scariest, maybe I'll do that video. Scariest, because that rank is absolutely going to change. Pumpkin Eater would be a little higher up than what it is right now, for sure. But anyways, do you guys agree with me? Let me know in the comments below how you would rank them. Also, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. That's right. Give it a smash. And as always, prankster, from your humble host, Panic. Scare you later.